everyone's healthy and safe and getting ready for camp and as excited as we all are. We'll give a quick heads up or two. I'm looking down below and we see that we have almost 300 RSVPs for this evening's meeting, but and it looks to be 108 have joined. So we will try our best to catch everyone up if they join late without everyone who's already been here to have to hear the same thing again. I do see a question about transportation or pick up and drop off. So we'll get to that for sure. I'll do a quick introduction of myself and others. And the one thing I wanted to say up front is this platform, Crowdcast, has some definite pluses. One of the things they did was try to make a good thing better. And so this is like an upgraded version. It's in beta, so they are not certain. I'm not certain. We're not certain that there won't be glitches, but I think it's ready to go. So we're all the guinea pigs. And then secondly, Justin, who is one of our, who is our high action and Kahuna Camp and High Action camp directors. He's going to be joining us any minute. He had to handle something with a family member. So he's a little bit late, but he should make it sooner rather than later. His name is Justin Tanks. And when he comes on, I believe he will just be the sixth person that you see here. So you'll know that he joined. And then we'll be able to cover everything. As far as the questions, we just wanted to make a quick request. If you look over, I believe all of us are set this way, but for those of you families and joining us tonight, thank you. If you wouldn't mind, where it's got a little question mark icon on the far right, there's like a chat icon feature, so to say, and then there's below it is a question mark. If you have questions, then you just drop your question, just click that and drop your question in there, and we're all of us are fairly certain we'll be able to answer your questions without you even writing them, because we can read minds. But if we don't, then at the end of the session, we'll be sure to answer these questions. And also this is being recorded, so you can watch it later if you want to revisit it afterwards. And also we will Justin should be here, I'm being told, but we will be able to answer all your questions without you leaving here tonight. So don't fret if we don't just type in the answer, because we think we'll be able to answer. Okay, so my name is Eric. I'm one of the camp directors with my wife, Terry. We're the owners of the camp. It's a family business, and all of the people you see here are part of our family in certain ways. Where it says Aloha Beach Camp, I meant to change it to Eric Naftal, and that's my name. But my name's Eric. To the right, I don't know if you see it the same way, but Noah is one of our assistant Kiki camp directors and one of our camp directors for our Hawaii summer camp. He's our surf camp director. Below him it's not Sarah. That's Josh, which is Noah's brother. There we go. And same thing, Josh is another assistant Kiki camp director and one of the main camp directors for our Hawaii summer camp at the end of the summer. That's not the day camp. When we say Hawaii, we mean the sleepaway program. It's just a week or two at the end. And next to Josh is Abby, who is the Kiki camp director on site at the day camp in Malibu. And also the camp director, another one of our camp directors for Hawaii. And then Kiana is camp director for our Hawaii program, and also at the day camp in Malibu, another Kiki camp director. So and then I am sort of back and forth, and then Justin and others are high action camp directors. I was told Justin was going to join, but I don't think he's here. So we'll go on. That's okay. What we'll do is I'm going to address the transport. I mean, myself personally will address transportation sort of towards the end, because I know that that's going to be a question that that's going to be a topic everyone has some interest in. And what we'll do is we'll have Abby and the others sort of give a quick rundown about how the Kiki Camp program works. We have had a lot of people in the last week. This program goes from 4 years old to 7, supposed to. We've had a lot of people in the last week who have 8-year-old kids who have asked to participate with the Kiki Camp instead of the Kahuna Camp, which they would typically be 8 and over. And we've had a lot of 7-year-olds, parents of 7-year-olds, asked to participate in the upper camp, the Kahuna Camp. So even if you don't have a 4 to 7-year-old, you might want to, I think you will want to hear this. And also all the ages, even though they're separated by age at the campground, at the campsite on the beach, on the bus, they're the same age, the ages are mixed. So I'm going to be quiet and turn this over to Abby real quickly. Am I okay? Abby's not.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. I'm Abby. I am the Kiki Camp Director, as Eric mentioned. So to start off, I think the best way to go about this is maybe just to share what a typical day at Kiki Camp looks like. And this will look pretty similar to what Kahuna and High Action will look like as well, just with a little bit of differences. So again, as Eric mentioned, it is pretty beneficial information for everyone. So first, obviously, everyone is going to arrive at camp, whether that's via the bus or you're dropping them off. All the faces you see here will be at the buses and at the drop-off location to greet your Kiki campers and lead them under the canopies, which is where we will spend most of our day. This will be right next to Zuma Tower 7, if you're familiar with Zuma Beach. And so in the morning, they'll arrive, have some time to kind of get settled in. They'll put their backpacks under the canopies, play in the sand for a little bit, meet each other. And then in the morning, we will have a morning meeting to kind of go over just some little rules and expectations for the day. So that might include things like, we always go to the bathroom with a buddy, a counselor, and with shoes, just little things like that they will need to know throughout their time at camp. Then after that, we'll have our first water session. So water sessions are, one of the primary things we do at camp. This will be their time to get in the ocean and to surf in the morning. So campers will have the opportunity to have a one-on-one surf lesson during our first water session if they choose. Obviously, with the Kiki campers, we definitely use discretion with knowing their swimming capabilities. So the surfing is pretty much someone holding the board on the sand, right in the water. So we definitely recognize the difference in skill sets. That's one of the differences between Kiki and some of the older kids. And then kids will also be able to boogie board during this time, just swim if they choose. A lot of Kiki campers love to just jump over the waves during this time. And there will also be counselors in the sand if your camper maybe doesn't want to get in the water in the morning. That's perfectly fine too. All of those supplies will be provided. So boogie boards, surfboards, they don't need to bring. Following this, we'll have lunch. So they will bring their own lunches for the most part. There is a snack shack at Zuma that we can walk them to, but definitely I would recommend packing a lunch. The snack shack can take some time, but if they want to do that, we are able to escort them there as well. And then after that, we'll have typically kind of a little like reading session or just a little bit of downtime, maybe some trivia, something fun after lunch, and then a second water session. And then at the end of the day, we have an activity session. So this looks a little different every day. We do sand crab racing. We do like shave ice sometimes. We do different little activities every day that the kids really love. So that will be the end of the day. And then from there, we will have snack, and then they'll get to go home, whether it's on the bus or again, if you're picking them up. Just some other like quick differences between Kiki and maybe High Action. We do apply sunscreen to the Kiki campers. So definitely pack sunscreen for your campers, but we will all be responsible for making sure it is actually applied throughout the day versus the older kids. That will be supervised, but the counselors won't necessarily be putting that actually on the campers. And then labeling things. This is another big one, I would say, with Kiki Camp. It's really easy for the campers to, accidentally throw their sweatshirt into the sand somewhere. And when we pick it up at the end of the day, a lot of times they'll forget if it's theirs. So labeling everything from lunch boxes to clothes would be great. And yeah, I think that is pretty much everything for kind of what a day looks like. Does anyone else have anything I might have missed? Nice.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, okay, what I did, I was unaware that there's a number of questions being submitted. First of all, thank you, Abby. Also, there's a number of questions being submitted in the chat box area, which we all, by my error, turned off. I was thinking everybody would be just submitting the questions on the question mark icon. So so Justin is here. I just heard from him on the side, and he'll be ready to talk in a moment. We're learning here as we go. As I mentioned, if you came late, this is a new platform. This is like a new platform we haven't used before for this type of an event. So we're sort of learning as we go. But there's a lot of questions, and on the right chat, there's 6 or 7 icons, and where there's a question mark, it's like a speech bubble or like a thought bubble box with a question mark in it on the right. If you want to click that, and then you can drop questions in there, but we'll still do our best to answer them on the right. Justin, you should be able to come right on. I'm getting a message from Justin that says one user wants to come on stage, but you should be able to come right on, Justin, because it's not letting me as a host. You should be able, if one of you guys want to tell Justin on the side how to get on there without doing that, that would be great. Do
you want, I can start going through some of these questions while
sure. There we go. JT, it said. Okay, so before we move on to Justin, I just also wanted to mention where it says Sarah Aloha Beach Camp on this guy's name up there. And then on the right it said Josh Naftalin answered a question. If you're on the chat, Josh Naftalin is where it says Sarah Aloha. So it's not somebody who just answered a question. And he is one of my sons. The other one that just disappeared is his brother. And for those of you who joined late, we can just show again. So my name is Eric, even though it says Aloha Beach Camp. Noah is there. Josh is next to Noah. Justin is down below. Kiki, Kiana is in the middle below. It's the Brady Bunch, or however they're. And Abby is there on the right. I think that's what it looks like. And now I will be quiet. Thank you. Kiana, you want to say anything, Noah, Josh, before we turn it over? No? Okay, so after Justin talks a little bit, hopefully not a little, take all the time you need, then I will just give us a thumbs up, and we will be able to talk about transportation and any other sort of nitty-gritty things. So Justin, give me 1 second to turn off mute audio.
Okay, welcome everyone tonight. So I'm going to reiterate for everyone who just joined or is in the process of joining or didn't hear earlier. If you have a question, we recommend you click that little Q&A button. You have an option, it looks like above your chat box to the right. It has a little question mark above the message symbol. That way we can get all the questions in one area, and you can also scroll through them to see if someone's already asked a question you may have. I'll do a little answering of these. Run expect for a typical day for high action and Kahuna campers. So after arriving at the beach, either on their bus route or personal drop off, whatever choice you do choose, we break off the day for all of our first time campers. We do a swim test with them all. We get them a wristband for the day, and we go through the rules for the day. So that consists of us doing a morning meeting. All of our campers, all of our counselors, we introduce all the counselors to the kids, and we tell them all of the rules for the day. Don't go in this area by yourself. You cannot be unsupervised. Don't go this area by yourself. Make sure you stay in the box that we create in the water during our water sessions. Surfing only happens during the first session of the day. That's because they blackball the beach after lunch. So you only have a limited amount of time to do it. But if you do want to do it, make sure you join our surf counselors at the top of the day. Afterwards, we tell them that we apply sunscreen 3 times a day. For the older kids, we monitor them as they put it on. For the younger kids, we help them put it on. But either way, it's mandatory. We stop everything we're doing when we have to put it on. As our day starts, we break into our first water session. This includes our surf session. This includes our open play for the kids. They have the option to go to the beach if they want to, down to the water, or if they want to stay on the sand, do our arts and crafts, any activities we may have for the day, or play any sports, games, things like that with any of our counselors. After about an hour and a half, we break. We get to the middle point of our day. We have lunch with all the kids, and then we switch into our second session of the day. Usually we like to do our activity for this second session. We have a calendar on our webpage as well that shows you all of the activities to expect for the year. Some of those are subject to change because I know we are dealing with a few COVID restrictions going early into the summer camp. So we don't want to start with food sharing or, things like that. So I know we have a cookie decoration that we were doing originally this upcoming week that's been canceled, just so we won't be dealing with germs right out the gate. But you can check online if you want to see what those activities are for the year. After that, we jump into our second water session of the day, which once again, our counselors join the kids in the water. We create a box for them, make sure they don't leave that box. This is a big sort of safety concern for us, but this is how we keep the kids safe throughout the day. So I know I've had a few parents email me back and forth about either them being concerned or just wanting to know what that looks like. But that's sort of how we do that process. All of our counselors go on the water, make sure it's safe first, then allow all of our campers in the water with us while they're in there. For the most part, we give them at least three attempts to pass us, we call it, right? If they go out the water too many times, pass the counselor, we tell them to go sit on the sand for a little bit for their safety so that they can sort of regroup and we can make sure all the campers are safe. After that, we go into our last sort of cleanup session for the day and we begin packing up for the rest of the evening. Campers get back on their bus. Parents either pick up kids from the Zuma Beach stop or from their separate bus routes towards the end of the day. And yes, and then most of our bus counselors will see you all at the end of the day at those stops. If you have any questions, please continue to look through our chat box here on the right with our Q&A. Make sure you look at those answered questions first, if you have any pressing questions, and make sure you see if someone else has already asked a question you have. If they did, you can also upvote them. There's a little upvote symbol right here to the right as well. I'm going to pause there, and then I'm going to, I'll be responding to some of these questions as well for you guys.
Thank you, Justin. On my screen, I don't know if that's happening to others. I see a big, grayed out box that says someone's answering a question right now. Mm-hmm. Does everybody see that, or is it just me, covering people's faces?
I see it as well. It is directly over my face.
I don't know how to get that off, but sorry about that.
No worries. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, it just says we will get a list of activities. Okay, so what I would like to do is, and maybe the others can contribute because that I may or we forget, but I'll just like to talk a little bit about transportation and how it works and what you can expect on the bus and et cetera. We all are able to talk about this because we've all done it. We don't ask our counselors to do anything that we haven't done ourselves. And so when we say this is kind of how the bus system works and this is how the day at camp works, we were all counselors and moved our way up. So we have direct experience and feel comfortable having that you'll leave here with all of your specifically transportation questions answered. But if there's any doubt at the end, keep firing the questions off. And also, this will stay online. These questions will stay online in addition to the recording. We can email the recording out to everybody afterwards. And this is going to be set where if you see a specific question on the recording, you'll be able to click the question and it will take you right to the section of the video recording that answers your question. So you're not going to have to like watch the whole video to get your question answered. If you see maybe somebody else asked a question you wanted to know the answer to but didn't hear it tonight, you can watch this recording later and go right to the recording, right to the section of the recording by clicking on this question that you see here. Okay, I see an EpiPen and all that. So let's go backwards to the transportation. So today, which we didn't get to, please understand this is a massive undertaking to make this. We have like maybe 1,300 families that come through, and we want every one of them to feel like they're the only one. We do our very best to respond, to be, you know, easy to get to and quick to respond. Sometimes fall short. Today, I made a point in my mind to get transportation emails out to everybody. In prior years, we would send them in the mail on Wednesday of each week, and then you would get them. Families would get them like on Saturday to start camp for the following Monday. So not that you were by no means behind. So tomorrow you will get, if you're starting, you will get 2 transportation emails tomorrow. The first one will be like a general, like this is how the transportation system works. And then the second more specific one, we will tell you, we will detail who your bus driver is, what time you'll be picked up, and bus counselors and all of that. So it'll be really 2. So we sent a general email yesterday, and one of the moms wrote back who we sent it to and said, there's no point in me reading this. We don't start camp until the 8th week, you know, later in August. And I was like, you're going to miss something. So if you don't want to read it, don't read it. But we highly suggest, even if you think it doesn't pertain to you, the messages that we send, it's gonna something is in there is going to be important later. So please, even if you're starting the 8th week of camp or the 6th week, you're still going to get these emails later from us that detail your particular bus route and how we do things at camp and so on. But you're also going to want to read the more general stuff that just comes from time to time. So that is our message about that. Yes?
There's a lot of questions about water safety. So can Abby and Justin take a turn, each talking about specific water safety?
Sure. Terry, who's trying to manage our loud dogs, is asking for Abby and Justin to take questions about water safety. So shall I be quiet about transportation and just assure everyone that you're going to get contacted tomorrow about that? You'll is that okay? Let me just say this really fast. There's counselors on the bus with the kids. The buses are driven. We use yellow school buses with seatbelts. The bus ride is part of the camp day. The kids are playing games and getting to know each other and interacting with their counselors and bonding and that kind of thing. The bus generally picks up between 8 and 9. That's a wide range, obviously, but you will have a specifically pinpointed time depending on the bus stop you chose. It drops off between 4 and 5. Same thing. If you chose this stop, you'll know that it's going to be coming at 4:42 p.m. and on and on. So it's not going to be a general thing like that. Some people do insist. We discourage it. I don't say discourage. We encourage campers to take the bus, but we understand some people don't want to do that, or they live so close to the beach it doesn't make sense. If you live close to the beach, or if you're not going to be using our transportation service, we do have an arrangement with the county who operates the parking lot at Zuma Beach that we can get you a parking pass that will be good for you for 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the afternoon. The first day you drop off your children, you have to pay the $8 or park on PCH and walk them down. Please don't argue with the guard gate security guy or girl, because that'll just make it more difficult for everybody in the future. But once you arrive and pay your $8 in the morning the first time and meet us at Lifeguard Tower 7, like Abby was describing, we will give you a parking pass, and you'll be able to use that from that point forward. But that hopefully is only going to be a small percentage of people, because we do encourage. The camp day starts and ends on the bus. So I'm going to stop right there. I know that was a lot. And I'm going to take 25 minutes to say mute your audio when I find that.
I do have a request for any of the parents who have typed a question into the Q&A. If you've received a comment that does answer your question, I believe you have an option to hit that your question was answered. That way it'll go to the other tab that says answered, and other parents can also look at that. I know there's at least 8 or so in here that have received an answer. So if you have received an answer for your question, just make sure you're hitting that answered button.
I stopped talking. Do you want?
Okay.
Yeah.
No, this is fine. Let's see. Okay, so we're getting some more questions about water safety. Aside from the box that we create in the water, I've also mentioned this in one of our Q&As. We are located directly next to our lifeguard tower, which is stationed all the time. And we're sort of sandwiched in between the lifeguard headquarters at Zuma Beach, which is this sort of 2-story building. And I know it houses at least a few offices for a lot of the overseeing lifeguards. There's also an airlift right there. We have police patrols who sort of go back and forth on ATVs throughout the day. This is just sort of telling you about how well patrolled the area is. In regards to us, on the other side, while we have our counselors in the water in that box, we also have counselors whose sole position is to be stationed on the wet sand. And their job is just to monitor both the counselors and the campers in the water. They're that second sort of set of eyes. So if we see anybody sort of drifting north, south, they can make sure they call those kids out or get hands on them in case they need to pull the kids out of the water to make sure they reset. They also make sure that the waves are not too violent for the kids. And this is what our counselors in the water are doing as well. We had an issue last year where we had a lot of rocks in the water, which was new for Zuma Beach, but we had a lot of rocks just continuously to hit everybody's feet throughout the day. And it wasn't really fun. So dealing with rocks, dealing with sandbars, no matter what, we have our water counselors sort of survey the situation before we go in the water to make sure it's safe always for the campers. And if our counselors aren't comfortable in the water, then that's a sign for us to not have the campers in the water at that moment. So we make sure that we're situated, we're comfortable, and we're willing and able to survey the situation in case we need to, and we go from there. And it's a situation we do every day. So we play it by ear. There's sometimes we do have to pull the kids out of the water. If lifeguards are making a rescue nearby, up or down the beach, we pull the kids out of the water. So we're very vigilant in how we sort of watch the kids while they're in the ocean. That's our biggest concern, definitely while we're at the beach.
Just for the lifeguarding, I'm sorry, for where to drop off at the beach, we're at Lifeguard Tower 7. This is one tower north of, Justin was mentioning the headquarters. So this is just the next tower over. I apologize. I'm trying to answer these questions and it doesn't even let me type into them. So I can't answer these, but I can try to answer them by voice. For the days that are not at Zuma Beach, are the hours the same or those longer days? For right now, they're the same. The bus times doesn't change or anything like that. We've figured out ways to make sure, pretty much everything. When we were going to go to Castaic Lake, that would have been the only time. Right now, we have talked about it doing an extended day, but it's not happening right now. So changes, we'll let you know. Is this good if we just do it like this? Yeah. Okay. Will you move the kids, older and younger groups after you meet them and see the groups are pretty much based on age, not by like ability and stuff. If sometimes if you have an older camper that you think should be with the younger ones, that would be more appropriate that way, or vice versa, you could tell us and we'll see if we can arrange that for you. But in general, the 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds have their own camp by age, and 8 to 11 by age, and 12 and over. That's how that kind of works. Anyone else? I'll shut mine off and somebody else can answer some questions.
Justin, I can't tell if are you saying something? You're on mute.
I am muted. Okay, sorry. Thank you. I saw a question here for what should our camper bring to camp? Towel, change of clothes is recommended, a bottle of water. Usually we have a lot of kids with the refillable bottles of water, which is perfect. We have 2 jugs on site filled to the brim with ice cold water to refill those bottles throughout the day. Sunscreen. Sometimes we have campers who bring multiple sunscreens, one for face, one for body, especially if your child has any skin allergies or skin irritants, like if they get really irritated by any particular sunscreens. We will have a general sunscreen on site, but if you need a special one, please bring that with your child. Snack, I recommend 2 snacks, one for the bus rides and one for when they're on the beach, and then also their lunch. And I think that is it. If your child does have an allergy where they require an EpiPen, we recommend they bring 2 to camp. One that they can keep with them on their person if they're old enough. And if not, and they're a Kiki camper, then one that their bus counselor can ride with. And then one we can keep at the first aid bin at camp. We recommend 2 EpiPens for those parents who do need EpiPens for their children.
Thank you. I'm off of mute, so hopefully there's not a lot of feedback, but I see one at the bottom about where do we find the bus stops. I'm not sure of the actual page, like URL of it, but if you just type into Google Aloha Beach Camp bus stops, it'll have 20, summer 2022. It'll be a PDF. It'll be one of the top ones that comes up, and you'll be able to see the bus stops that way. I cannot get this question off the screen. I don't know. I don't know why. If anyone sees that question on the right, and you could just say stop it, that it's been answered, I think that might take it off. Is there a west side bus stop? Cheviot Hills looks the farthest. Thank you. Looks like the furthest west. I believe we have one in Santa Monica, so that would probably be a little further west than Cheviot, and that we have one in Palisades, I believe. The Santa Monica stop is McKinley Elementary School, like on Arizona, I think, or Wilshire and Chelsea, maybe, or I don't know. McKinley Elementary School, which stops near Santa Clarita. That would be Porter Ranch, the old Toys R Us, where there's an In-N-Out up there now, and like a Walmart, and that's where the closest to Santa Clarita would be. Hurricane Harbor. We sort of vacillate. I mean, just based on COVID and just how not quite there comfortable yet for Hurricane Harbor. We don't think. Maybe as summer goes on and things sort of get a little more comfortable, but right now, not. It doesn't look that way. Encino Studio City Bus go on Canyon. Yes, it goes on the Canyon over Las Virgenes Canyon, Las Virgenes Malibu Canyon. Respect to safety on the bus, I don't know. All the buses have seat belts. All the counselors are on the bus with them. You mean accidents? No, there's no accident. The bus will give you a quick rundown about I shut myself off. The bus company, the buses are provided by Tumbleweed Transportation. I'll date myself, but in 1992, my wife and I started that bus company at Tumbleweed, worked there for a couple more years and left to come do Aloha Beach Camp. 1994, maybe, I don't know, but very close still with the owners of that bus company and the camp. There are 2 separate organizations now, but when we were there, it was one. And so they provide the buses for us in the summer. These are all the bus drivers are drug tested and background check from the FBI. And the bus drivers that we get, Tumbleweed provides transportation for lots of schools and lots of camps and lots of organizations and others. But we get to choose what bus drivers we want, and the rest of them go off to the other places. And so we get the best of the best, and it's the same bus drivers every year for the past 10 or 15 years. So they know us, we know them, and there's really no safety. I think one time, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, somebody on PCH rear-ended one of our buses, but no. Yeah. Is there a fields for if you go on to programs and activities on the alohabeachcamp.com website, click on programs and activities, then click on the Kahuna camp. All of the different options for the different camps are there, and you just click on the daily activity schedule. If you do see Castaic Lake, that hasn't been changed yet. That'll probably be at Zuma right now. How do you let the kids know? I'm sorry. It says, but how do the kids let you know? About going to the bathroom or, oh, you want to answer or we announce it? I'll shut up, Abby. Hold on one second.
Either way, I was just going to say, yeah, I think the above question was just in reference to the bathroom. We'll always tell campers in the morning that when they need to use the restroom, they can let a counselor know. Counselors will always be really easily identifiable, will always be in different colored t-shirts so that they're able to find anyone, counselor on the beach, and let them know that they need to go to the bathroom.
Sorry. I was going to say, can you keep answering the questions? And somebody said, can you describe what the water box is? I have a drawing of that. I can try to find it. I will find that and drop that link in there. I feel terribly uncomfortable trying to share my screen with that, but you keep answering that and I'll see if I can find this picture. Okay. Yeah. Anybody?
I'm reading through the questions. I'm sorry. I'm looking at some of these.
Oh, sorry. My mic.
Castaic Lake is not happening this year. That is information I do have. We will not be doing Castaic Lake this year. That is separate from Oxnard, our Oxnard trips, for anyone wondering.
What happened with Castaic? Am I off mute, I assume?
Yes.
What happened with Castaic Lake is there's no water from no rain. So it's not safe to use jet skis there. If you want to keep trying, if you want to keep answering, I'm going to try to share my screen. Actually, here. If anyone wants to see, I'll put a link. No. Here's what the box looks like. If you go to the chat feature, I put a link to our blog post that shows what it is. I can't figure out how to share the screen. But did we answer this question, or am I about how do they know what the water box is, or what does a water box look like? No? Okay, so we have a rule at camp where the counselors enter the water first and the campers follow them into the water. And when we exit, the campers go out of the water first, and then the counselors come out of the water after the kids. So if you could picture four counselors walking into the water, we tell the campers never turn your back on the ocean. This is a good picture that if anyone can get to that, I would look at that. That's a SPF 1000. Okay, we'll get. So I use 100, so we're almost at the same. So four counselors walk into the water. Then we tell the counselors never turn your back on the ocean. I'm sorry, we tell the campers that, but the counselors do turn their back on the ocean, facing the beach, the ocean, facing the sand. So the four counselors walk in, turn around, and now they're facing the kids on the sand. So we picture that. Then a couple more counselors will go in on the sides, and you have like two more on each side. So now you've got like a table shape or a box, the sand or the beach finishing off the other end of the box, and you have a big square. Call it the fun square or the beach or the whatever we call it, and the kids swim within that area, and the counselors are in that area, additional ones with them too, making sure those four counselors stay at their waist level so the kids don't go past them. At Zuma, you can walk out most days pretty far, and the water doesn't get terribly high, so you can still go out and get a lot of good waves, safe waves, and never. The kids have to have their feet firmly on the ocean floor, or else they need to come in closer to the sand, and then they can continue with what they're doing. But that's how it looks, like 4 deep. When I say deep, we mean to their waist at the most. Then 2 or more on each side. Then we think of a shape like a staple, almost like a office staple. Then there's more counselors on the beach or the wet sand of the beach where the waves are crashing, looking out at the box, at the staple shape thing where the kids inside of it and the extra counselors. And that box, sometimes when you're in the water, you can't know if you're moving one way or another. So the counselors on the wet sand are looking at them sort of like as lookouts, saying, readjust the box. If they're 2 or 3 feet one way wrong, they can walk back. But if they really drift one way or another, everyone exits the water, walks on the wet sand, and then re-enters the water. And we use it as a marker or a guide so the campers and people and the counselors on the water know that they're in a safe spot. We always swim right in front of the lifeguard tower, and the kids have to be able to see the canopies on the beach from the ocean so they know that they're right at where they ought to be. Yeah. Shall I be quiet and somebody can continue answering questions? I'm going to do that. You see some? Josh, you want to do one? No? No? Yes? Yeah? Okay, I'm gonna turn my mic up.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find when my chat is not existing anymore. That's
you got to hit the 2 like.
I know. I'm trying.
Okay. Okay, well, somebody else can do it.
I don't know.
Or Justin or Abbott. Kiki's gone, huh? Kiana's gone.
Someone just asked how many kids are at Kahuna Camp on any given day. So Kahuna Camp and High Action are kind of blended a little bit. So I would say total there's anywhere from 80 to 120 campers. Kahuna maybe around 50, half of that, let's say, right? But yeah, for Kahuna and High Action around 100 per day.
Please don't let me confuse you, because it says Kiana Kim on there. It's K-I and K-I, so we say Kiki, but that's the name of the camp. So we try to not to say Kiki around the Kiki campers so that they don't get they don't think she's the camp. So but that's who we're talking to when we say Kiki, but she's not there. Okay. Probably glitched out. Yeah. As far as the sunscreen goes, I'm sorry if somebody answered this already, but so one of the big differences between the 2 camps, other than the age, 3 camps, is that the younger children, we will physically apply it for them. Since COVID has happened, we really prefer them to send a stick, so we're not rubbing it into them or like limit the touching. But we can physically apply it to the younger campers. The older ones, we will supervise and watch them do it, and the counselors will be right on top of them to make sure, and they can help them too if get areas like their back or something that they can't reach on their own. But one of the big differences, we got an email today from a parent. I've never seen anything like this in like 23 years that said, I want you to know that we've been practicing at home applying sunscreen for the last 2 weeks, so my child is ready to do it on their own when they get there. Never heard that before. But we can definitely assist the older kids, and we will do it for the younger ones. Yeah. And I read in the handbook, counselors go to the bathroom with the kids. Yes. Did you answer that? Anyone? We Abby did, I think, say, so we bring a buddy, another camper, the counselor, and and they wear their shoes, the kids do. And the counselor will always make sure that the bathroom is clean and nobody's in it. And also we have, when Justin was talking about the lifeguard headquarters, we're also adjacent, like arm's reach of the sheriff's department. They put up a mobile LA County Sheriff Department, and one of our old camp directors is a sheriff there. So she's like in uniform, extra patrol for us. So there's really no issue with anybody in there or any kind of riffraff, I guess it's called. But if it is, we will always make sure the bathroom's clean before we go in there. Yeah. Okay. I'll let somebody else go ahead. Mine says, can you describe what the water box is? I don't know if, yeah. Okay. Josh, do one.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'll turn mine on.
Okay, so someone asked how many kids are in Kiki camp per day. The number is different just depending on the day, but typically in the past we've had between like 35 on like an average day, I would say up to like 60 kids, which is a crazy day. But yeah, I would say at the most up to 60, and on an average day maybe 30 to 40 kids. And no matter how many kids we have, the ratio of counselors to campers is always maintained.
So yes, perfect. So we have canopies and shade for all of the, no matter what age they are, how many kids come. We overstaff the camp. I think I read something about a floater or a rover. We have tons of counselors, and it's a blast. We also have okay, I'm getting the dog taken from me. We also have an extra permit. We've been talking a permit to use a lifeguard tower. We had lifeguard tower 7 the whole time until last year when it became when Josh was talking about the Kiki camp, it became nuts with how the crazy demand for it. So we got another permit to use lifeguard tower number 8 in case we want to just sort of like release the overflow valve, and only the Kiki campers perhaps only will be separated off from. So on a day where it gets where enrollment gets really much higher, we may separate to lifeguard tower 8. But in general, the Kiki camp, those 30, 40, 50 kids, they will be, some days there's a lot less. They will be on the right side, or if you're looking at the ocean, pretend the right side of the lifeguard tower number 7, and the older kids on the left. So they're really not interacting with each other. But if we needed to or wanted to, we could also use the additional section. But yeah, it's been crazy. The Kiki camp before COVID was 20, 30 kids a day. And the demand for that become wild. Okay. Are we missing anything, or?
I see another question here for what is the Oxnard trip? So I think it was talked about earlier, but I'll say it again. It's a trip out to Oxnard Beach Park for the day. Our kids there's this giant playground, this big open grass area, more or less, with sort of baseball fields, but it's an open park. So the kids get to hang out at the park area for most of the day. We do some barbecuing, some grilling for them. We make burgers, hot dogs, veggie burgers, whatever your child needs or prefers. And then it usually ends with a short trip to the beach for our beach session. Usually it's one of our favorite days, I think. At least my favorite day. I don't know if it's everyone's favorite day, but it's a few of our favorite days. We also have another trip out there in Oxnard to Channel Islands, not the Channel Islands, but Oxnard's Channel Islands, where we do kayaking, paddleboarding, and a few other water activities on that delta right there in Oxnard.
Justin, someone else, can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Someone was asking about bringing a wetsuit for Kahuna because they said the water could be cold in the mornings.
It depends on the weather. Most of our campers operate just fine without a wetsuit. If you don't have a wetsuit for your camper, don't feel like you need to go out the way to get one. But sometimes in those morning sessions, your camper may not want to get in the water until the sun comes out, right? For the counselors, I recommend wetsuits. For the campers, I say it's completely optional. If you want to send your child with a wetsuit and they have one, you're more than welcome to.
Oh. Some of these questions from, I think somebody from Crowdcast, who the platform is on here. Her name is Melissa. I didn't know that. just helping us, Melissa. If you're still here, thank you for joining us. Just to make sure we're not. Yes, there is. Mine just changed to, is there a separate surfing area from the, and also Ty, I have been getting your emails. I promise you I will make those changes for you. But as far as a separate surfing area for the water box, there's actually three sections. Justin can talk about his like high action Kahuna 3, and we can talk about ours. We really, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay, so our surfing takes place a little bit further south of where we're stationed. So as I was saying earlier, during our daily morning meetings, we introduce the surf counselors for the day. We make sure all the campers can see who that is, and we try to get a head count of who wants to go surfing for the day. After that, all of our surfboards and equipment are taken just a little further south, away from where our kids are stationed for their water session, because we don't want them running into each other. And down there, they get an on dry sand surf lesson, right? They learn the anatomy of the surfboard, and then our counselors do one-on-one lessons for each of those kids who wants to go out. As the year progresses, and this isn't the case for a majority of our campers, but it is the case for a few of them, if they come to camp with previous surfing experience, or if they've been with us for a few years, we do allow them the free surf option for the older kids. Even though I will say last year at Kiki camp, I think we had a professional Kiki camp surfer, which was phenomenal to watch. He brought his own surfboard. His dad watched. It was crazy. But for the older kids, they have the option to do like free surf.
Oh, who is that?
Is this right? Do you guys remember?
Maybe. Did it?
He was not a professional, but he had his own board.
He went every day. Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing to watch.
Yeah.
A rare circumstance.
Mhm.
For the older kids, it's also rare for them to be able to do free surf, because we need to see that they are confident in that water. They've either had those years of surf experience, or they've been out with enough one-on-one lessons with a counselor to where they can go join a counselor in the water with their own board. And then they can sort of participate in free surf. But that definitely takes place further down the beach, away from our main water box, because we don't want them running into each other. For Kiki, they do the same thing when they separate with their surf classes and their main water box. And it's all for the case of safety. For high action, we also do split our water box with boogie boarders and non-boogie boarders for the same reason.
Okay, Abby, you want? Yeah, ours is. The Kiki. I say ours because I also go with the Kiki camp group, but most times, and we also surf separately from them at the older program. They have oftentimes several people learning to surf at the same time, and we generally go one-on-one. They all high action Kahuna camp also one-on-one, but some of the kids do know how to surf already, so we let them do what we call free surf, which is shallow water surfing right next to us. So sometimes there's more in the water doing with the older kids learning to surf, but the Kiki campers, they only go one at a time in the ocean at any one time. I saw somebody on top of Josh's question and answer that said, how many counselors do we have? I'm lost it now. But anyway, we have about, like, depending on the daily enrollment for Kiki camp, if there's going to be like 50 kids, I'm just saying this is to understand it, you will have like 12 to 15 counselors, for instance. We think of the ratio to be like, if the kids are having a surfing lesson, that's one to one. If they're in the ocean swimming or doing boogie boarding or something like that, then it's going to be 2 or 3 to 1, generally 2, because it's like one counselor holding one camper's hand on each side. And then, like, when we're on the beach playing games where supervision is still extremely important, but not as crucial as when they're in the water, then we'll have the maximum would be 5 counselors to 1, 5 campers to one counselor. Yeah. And we're having lunch, playing games on the sand, metal detectors, for example. We section off an area and the kids could use metal detectors, all kinds of things like that. Average amount of counselors working in a day, 30. The Well, one just said 5-1. This is for the younger group. The older one, it will be like 7-1 at the most. And then same thing, 1-1 surfing, 5-1 on the sand. No, 5 to 7-1 on the sand, 3-1 in the water. So it just really depends, because we have counselors that work every day. We have counselors that work part-time, a couple days a week. And because we can't give you a specific answer, because Aloha Beach Camp, when you register for camp, when families sign up, it's a very untraditional registration system or format versus a more like session-based camp, where the camp from the beginning makes you conform to like these advanced prearranged sessions. So, okay, the camp is saying to you, you have to come between this date and this date, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Doesn't work for you? Too bad. That's good for the camp, because they're able to predict exactly how many kids are coming every day and all that. But this way, with us, you pick and choose individual days you want. And some people do it like a traditional session, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday for 6 weeks, and then they go off to summer school or go to a different camp or something. But more often, or just as often, you have a camper that comes on a Tuesday here, a Wednesday there, a full week a month later, all kinds of things, no rhyme or reason to what they're doing. It's just, or they signed up for 3 days and loved it, so they added 10 more, but the 10 aren't consecutive. So that's why we don't know exact. So when you say what's an average, that's a good question. The good word to say, average. I would say 30 on a given day. That's a long answer for a short question.
Dad.
Yeah.
Someone was asking when they'll be notified about getting off the wait list.
That was another thing I meant to do today. And I think they will be, this is another long answer to a short question, but if you're on the waiting list for the first week or two of camp, you'll know tomorrow or the next day. If you're on the waiting list for later in the summer, you might not know till next week or the week after. We want to make sure that to the extent that we can get everybody off the wait list in the beginning, we're going to do that right away. And then we go deeper into camp, we'll keep trying to get people off the wait list. We realize it's frustrating and inconvenient, doing our very best. And we're in the business of accepting kids to camp, not making them wish they could be here. So we don't want campers on the waiting list. We've never, ever had a waiting list like this, still sort of learning how to manage it. And I would say if you're coming in the first week or 2 or 3, you'll definitely know by the weekend and probably by Friday. But even if we said, no, you're not off the waiting list on Friday, maybe over the weekend, 10 kids drop out, or a group of 6 kids that went to a birthday party together this last weekend all got COVID and can't come for the first week. So 6 spots just opened up. So I'm going to see what we can do about it. We'll try to get, people into those days. So it's we never have had a waiting list like this, but I would also ask for patience. We would ask for patience as far as the emails go, because if somebody is, we realize like if you're starting camp week 7, which is like August 1st or something like that, or week 8, August 1st, then you want to make a change to your enrollment schedule. We totally understand, but a lot of people who are starting Monday, they want to make changes to their enrollment schedule. They can't come Monday and Tuesday next week. They can only come Tuesday and Wednesday. So we're not ignoring your requests. We're just addressing those more, pressing tasks that we need to address. And then we'll get, like right now, woke up this morning, we had something like 266 messages of changes only, 267. We got it down to like 40, and then 100 more came before this. So we'll get to all those by tomorrow. Okay. Josh, anything else I missed or anybody? Abby's gone. Okay. All right. Well.
Oh, one more thing. Someone was asking where on the website they can check for open spots. And about ordering extra rash guards. Where to do that.
Extra rash guards, Mom. If you email us, we'll try to put an order form online by this weekend. Can we sell extra rash guards?
We can try to
Yes, well, we're working on putting a camp store together, an order form. This is probably good for t-shirts too, especially if everybody will get a t-shirt and a rash guard, as we sent out the order form this past week or yesterday or the day before. That comes free. If you're coming just on a sort of a irregular schedule, a day or two a week, one shirt is easily enough. You don't have to deal with anything else besides that. But if you don't want to be doing laundry and stuff like that, you might want to have 2 or 3 shirts. We'll get something going where you could get like 2 additional shirts, or like 3 for the price of 2 or something like that. But that order form isn't done. It's just another, it'll be done by Monday when camp starts, first day of camp. I also wanted to mention that when we say goodbye here, I think we did say that this is all going to stay online. This is all going to stay online. We will email the link to everybody that's registered, and you'll have the link to this. And we do have a Culver City stop, but it isn't going to happen the first couple of weeks of camp. The first couple of weeks of camp, we will most likely only have either Santa Monica or Cheviot. This is a thing with the bus company we're working out right now. But there will be a Culver City stop sooner rather than later. So for right now, we would suggest choosing a Cheviot Hills or Santa Monica bus stop. So what I was saying, and so also regarding emails, we recognize after this meeting, we assume this will generate email questions. Promise you we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. We also, as I've started to say many times, this is all going to stay online. You'll be able to come back to the questions. If anything is not answered, you have the chat box. Please put your message in the chat box. I keep getting a thing that says 2 users want to come on stage. But is that Kiana and Abby, or is that actually people?
One of them is Abby, I think.
Can you say yes to them, to her?
Yeah. Let's
Hands raised. Doll. I don't know. Dolly, I said yes to come on stage, but I don't understand why. Maybe there's only room for 6 people at once, and I don't see Abby or Kiana's request. Abby, host. Invited on stage. I don't understand what's going on here. We don't need to take everyone's time. It's my. Oh, I think Dolly's coming. This is if it worked, right? It's the first time we've ever had a parent up here with us. Please work. We see your initials, DB.
This is our special guest segment.
Yeah, we're having a special guest. This is our podcast. We're inviting a special guest onto our podcast. It doesn't. Can you say anything? We have Abby twice now. So there's definitely room for 8 people. There's Abby, and goodbye. Dolly, if you want to just type a question, I don't know why it doesn't work, but in any case, we don't want to take. We allotted till 8 o'clock, and I know many families here have still in school this week and children to put to bed and stuff. So, is everybody happy with what we've covered so far? Yeah, I think we did pretty well here. I don't know why it's not letting Kiana or Abby come back, but sorry about that. So we'll invite your emails to info@alohabeachcamp.com. Send them to Justin at alohabeachcamp.com. Send them to you could drop it into this chat box or where it says ask a question. You'll be able to, we will keep coming back on here the next couple of days and answering the questions that are asked in here. So even though this will not be a live recording anymore, we'll all be saying goodnight. This URL where it says Aloha Beach Camp New Parent Orientation on the top on crowdcast.io, keep returning to this URL and put your questions into this chat box. We'll leave it up. I'm going to put mine up right here. So if everybody can see what we're saying, Stephanie was one of the last ones that, oh no, I'm sorry. Just Stephanie and Jody have asked us questions. This is where you would want to put your this chat box will stay up. Annie, I'm blind. What is it? A icon? Is it an emoji? Thanks, guys. That was Josh. Oh, it doesn't say Sarah anymore. How come it says Josh Lobby? Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Can somebody just? We're good. Okay. Thank you, folks. Be patient with us. We every last question, request, email, everything is 100% crucial to us that we get back to you as fast as we can. By when camp starts Monday morning, you'll be able to get us instantly. It's just leading up to that. We're in staff training right now. We're trying to help a lot of people who are not as with it as all of you, and who are like signing up now trying to at the last minute and sort of juggling many hats. But we look forward to a great summer and appreciate everyone's trust. And we know that this is no small leap of faith to let your kids go to the beach without you, and that you're trusting us to supervise them. And we promise to not let anything happen, and to make sure that they have had and do have the best summer camp experience of their lives. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Good night. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay.